Coach, Ohio State lost some key starters. Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator, goes to Penn State. Ryan Day hires Matt Patricia. You know him well. Tell us about him.
Yeah, big hire. Matt Patricia and I go way back. He was the defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick at the Patriots, came up as defense coach. Then he went on to the Detroit Lions as head coach, then went back to the Patriots and actually called plays. So you think his expertise on both sides of the ball. I cannot think of a worse scenario for a young quarterback. Arch Manning, the Texas quarterback, making his first start. I know he started some games, not like this. I called it his first start, and they confused him. The reason it was a bad scenario for him is because Matt Patricia's not a whole lot of film for him to go back and look.
Right.
They have excellent players, but also they confused the quarterback. And what they did something called simulated pressure. So as a young kid, and you know Manning's, we're teaching him since he's that big, whenever you get pressure is a blitz, a linebacker or a secondary to go with a D lineman. Whenever that happens, a quarterback's trained, it's normally man coverage. You find the best matchup, deliver the ball, or it's something called fire zone, where they bring a blitz or a secondary player, and then they play zone behind it. You find a soft area. Ohio State did simulated pressure. They brought the blitzes, but they played 7-man coverage. The 2 defensive ends dropped, and you could see him throughout the game. He got very tentative. He got locked up, and as a result, it's much too late once that happens. Now you're in a pressure situation.
Let's take a look at how that unfolded.
Okay, here you go, young quarterback, 3rd down and 10. The crowd is loud. We were there. And here's what Matt Patricia did. They put 6 DBs on the field, or dime defense, 3 linebackers, and only 2 defensive linemen. As you can see, they're going to show a pressure from the right side. Numbers tell the quarterback it's come from the right side, but as you see here, Jerry, it actually comes from his left side. So one of the things you can't stand, you have 3 offensive linemen blocking 1 up top. But here's the one I want to focus on. The quarterback thinks it's pressure. It is pressure, but it's only 4-man rush. You know why? The defensive end up top drops. There's only 2 defensive linemen on the field, and this ends up being, this blows my mind, it's cover 2. He pulls the ball down and gets sacked. Now I want to really watch this from the end zone. That's Arvell Reese, number 8. I want to really study him for a second. He's a linebacker walked up in the B gap. Watch what he does on the snap. He turns like he drops. Watch 72, the offensive lineman. What's he do? He turns to block the end. They think he's dropping.
Right.
Is that brilliant?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Arvell comes clean.
And then he comes clean, and by the time 74, the left tackle for Texas sees it's too late. As a result, it's a sack. All right, Jerry, this is more traditional look, simulated pressure. It's 2nd down and long, 2nd down and 14. Long yardage situation, a lot like the first one. But let's take a look. You see both linebackers do what? They're blitzing through the A-gap.
Right.
Quarterback knows it's a blitz. But watch both defensive ends drop into coverage. Here's the difference. This is 0 bracket man. Watch the 3 defenders down here. They're man-to-man, but watch Caleb Downs. He brackets the number 3 receiver and hands him off to the safety.
Right.
Is that beautiful?
Yeah.
Look at this. And that allows Caleb Downs to be free and roam the center field.
Coach, that was great, but would you want to go to the clear board to talk about it a little bit more?
First time in 2025, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So let's take a look at the first simulated pressure. It's 3rd down and 10. They end up playing cover 2, and that's what screws up Arch Manning. Okay, it looks like there's going to be pressure from the field. There's Caleb Downs. The offensive line checks protections this way. But what happens is they bring a corner blitz. The defensive end comes inside. And remember, the linebacker started to drop and then came and pressured. So you have 3 for 3 here. The offensive line made the protection call to the field.
Right.
All 3 guys were blocking to the right side. 3 offensive linemen for 1 defensive lineman. And he wasn't even rushing, he was containing. But here's the thing. They played cover 2 behind it, which is phenomenal. Linebacker pushed to the weak flat. Weak hook, Caleb played the middle. The defensive end or linebacker dropped to the hook, and you had cover 2 behind it.
Coach, let's go back to the film room and talk about one more thing we haven't talked about yet with the Ohio State defense.
All right, Jerry, you've talked about this many times.
Yep.
This is the game set match in my mind is 4th and 1 for the Texas Longhorns. They're down by 7. They have to score here. Obviously, they don't. What I've never really understood, I tried never to do this, you have 7,000 pounds of dude right now. You have all Buckeyes.
Right.
You got 11 Buckeyes packed in there between the tackle box. They try to run a sneak. What happens? Arch Manning doesn't get an inch. As a result, Ohio State stops them, and it's a turnover downs. You got 12 Buckeyes, 11 Buckeyes right there.
Coach, there's one other thing. There's a Buckeye in the back of the end zone. He's a waist bender. He needs to put his hands on his knees to stay up.
He's bending at the ankles, bending at the knees, good athletic position.
That is not a good athletic position. That's a waist bender.
You're right.